Hello. In this video, I will be focusing on scenario two, so the chronic illness diagnosis. The scenario describes a 45-year-old man recently diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, or MS, who is experiencing fear, hopelessness, and concern about his future and his ability to provide for his family. So, first, in identifying the grief or loss response, in this scenario, the patient is experiencing a form of anticipatory grief. Although he hasn't yet lost physical function, he is grieving the possibility of losing mobility, independence, and the identity he has developed through his work. A new diagnosis, like multiple sclerosis, can interrupt a person's sense of stability and future plans, and that disruption creates a deep emotional loss. He is showing grief response such as sadness, hopelessness, and fear. These reactions happen because MS is unpredictable and the unknown progression can feel overwhelming. Psychologically, he may also be experiencing difficulty concentrating, intrusive worry, irritability, and even withdrawal from loved ones as he tries to make sense of what the diagnosis means for his life. He is grieving the version of himself he thought he would be as he ages and the loss of certainty about his future. Recognizing these responses helps ensure that his emotional and psychological needs are addressed, not just his physical symptoms. So explaining physical stress responses and coping factors. So when someone receives a life-changing diagnosis, the body naturally activates the stress response symptom or system. His body may release higher levels of cortisol and adrenaline, which can increase blood pressure, heart rate, muscle tension, headaches, and fatigue. Because MS affects the central nervous system, physical stress can worsen neurological symptoms, making numbness, weakness, or visual changes more noticeable. Chronic stress also impacts immune function, which is important because MS involves autoimmune activity. In terms of coping, he may fall into either healthy or unhealthy patterns. He might try problem focused coping, like researching MS, seeking support, or explaining or exploring work accommodations. Or he may use emotional focus coping, such as leaning on family or spiritual support. However, his feelings of hopelessness put him at risk for ineffective coping, like withdrawing, losing motivation, or internalizing negative beliefs about his future. Identifying and supporting healthy coping early is essential for improving long-term well-being. So, identifying some nursing actions. So, intervention one, so an emotional and psychological support. So, one important nursing action is providing emotional support through therapeutic communication. I would acknowledge and validate his feelings, encourage expression of fear and uncertainty, and screen for depression or anxiety. Referring him to counseling, support groups, or resources can help him feel less alone. Intervention number two, so um, sociological stress management. A second intervention involves supporting physical health and stress reduction. I would teach him relaxation techniques such as deep breathing, mindfulness, or progressive muscle relaxation. I'd encourage balanced nutrition, adequate rest, hydration, and gentle exercise without or within his tolerance. These strategies help regulate his stress response and may reduce symptom flare-ups. And then for my third intervention, spiritual care. So a third intervention is integrating spiritual care. I would assess what spirituality means to him, ask whether faith or prayer are important in coping, and offer to involve chaplain services if he desires. Supporting spiritual needs can help build resilience and restore hope during this uncertain time. Um, and mindful techniques. And then explaining theological connections. So, theology and spirituality can offer powerful healing tools for individuals facing chronic illness. For many people, Faith provides a sense of peace, meaning, and purpose when life feels unpredictable. In this scenario, the patient may find comfort in believing that he is supported by a higher power or guided through adversity. Spirituality can help him reframe his diagnosis not as a punishment, but as a challenge he has the strength to navigate. Spiritual practices such as prayer, meditation, or reflection can reduce anxiety and promote inner calm. Connecting with religious communities can also provide emotional support and honor the patient's values while supporting his holist while supporting him holistically. Spiritual care reinforces dignity, hope, and resilience, essential factors for someone adjusting to a chronic progressive illness. So, some reflections. So understanding grief, loss, and stress and spirituality. So completing this assignment really deepened my understanding of how grief and loss extended far beyond death. A chronic illness diagnosis represents the loss of independence, physical ability, roles, and future expectations. I now see more clearly how stress affects the body in measurable ways and how chronic stress can worsen physical symptoms, especially in conditions such as MS. This assignment also helped me appreciate the importance of spirituality and coping. Many patients rely on faith to make emotional grounded, or I'm sorry, to make meaning out of suffering, to maintain hope, and to stay emotionally grounded. These concepts remind me that nursing must be holistic and address not just physical needs, but also emotional, psychological, and spiritual ones as well. Another reflection that I have is just incorporating theology and spirituality into practice. So to incorporate theology and spirituality into my practice, I plan to start by assessing each patient's spiritual belief and asking open-ended questions like what gives you strength during difficult times. This helps me understand what matters most to them. And I can also collaborate with chaplains, provide quiet spaces for prayer, meditation, and support activities that bring comfort, such as music, scripture, or reflective journaling. My goal is not to push my beliefs onto patients, but to honor theirs and provide support that align with their values. When spirituality is integrated respectfully, it can improve coping, decrease stress, and give patients a sense of meaning during illness. And then the third one is just caring for my own spiritual and emotional well-being. So as a nurse, I know I must take care of my own emotional and spiritual well-being. Nursing involves constant exposure to suffering and uncertainty, and without proper self-care, burnout can happen quickly. To stay grounded, I plan to use practices like prayer, personal reflection, journaling, and reading scripture. Setting boundaries, resting, and seeking support from colleagues will help me maintain balance. One Bible verse that helps strengthen me as a future nurse is Isaiah 41:10, which says, "Do not fear, for I am with you. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." This verse reminds me that I am supported and not alone. Even on difficult days, by caring for my own spiritual health, I can show up fully and compassionately for my patients. And that is all.